Good morning, everyone. Brian here again with BMK Retro Gaming. This morning I have for us the comparison contrast video of the Atari 7800, the Atari VCS 2600 and Atari 7800 ports of Xenophobe. Now, they do have a lot in common in some ways. For one thing, they're both generally based off of the some of my cartridges getting my attention. They're both based off of the 1987 arcade cabinet original from Bally Midway. And they're both arcade ports, for that matter. While they do have a lot of differences, too. For instance, the Atari 7800 port was released in 1989 and has this cartridge cover art, which is actually a bit different from those that came with most of the others. While the Atari VCS 2600 port was released in 1990, this was released in 1989, this was 1990, and has the more standard box cover art on the box and label, so they are a bit different. One thing I might not point out too much in the Atari 7800 review video is at least the cartridge label on this one is in color rather than being black and white or just text-based, which a lot were. Anyway, I don't want to run this into being a two-part video unless I have to, so I'm going to go ahead and get the Atari VCS 2600 port fired up with my Atari 7800, which I've got at the ready for convenience since it will play both. And we're going to take a look at some gameplay real quick while we finish comparing and contrasting them. Okay, so here we go with the Atari VCS 2600 port. One thing, it has a pretty nice intro screen, very similar to the Atari 7800 in a way. As we can see, it has one or two player options depending on which you prefer. That's one difference from the 7800 port right off the bat, which is that the two-player mode is turn-based, whereas on the 7800 port, it is cooperative, much like the 1987 arcade port would be. Here we go. I do like how the ship is still very well animated and all, and the space stations also are pretty much, they have different designs in each one. Another thing is the number of space stations here, much like the Nintendo NES port, third generation Nintendo NES port later, is actually, the space stations each have, there are 8 of them, whereas the 7800 port has 9, one extra. Here's this secondary, more powerful weapon, which they just robbed me of. You have to try to be quick to get that one before it disappears. I believe that is a burger or something. Those right there are the critter aliens, which are a pain in the neck. Actually, no, I'm going to go ahead and reset this thing real quick because losing that first gun like that is not good. This is basically a flask, which helps to improve and increase your health back some. These are the roller babies, which you don't want to get caught up in by too much in fighting for too long. Getting knocked down by these guys too much will cost you a gun, which is roughly the same as what would happen with the Atari 7800 port. Okay, I'm just going to get out of there because it's not worth trying to fight them off like that. I believe that was a burger. There we go, got rid of him. That's the tentacle. Okay, there we go, and I'm getting transported off. Apparently I got rid of enough xenophobe aliens. That's another thing here. You kill about 12 or so of them, or so it says, and it says you got the base cleared rather than self-destructing it. Also, the point values, the amount of damage you do, and the amount of points for picking up weapons and other items, and all, with the exception of the health items, are a bit different. But that kind of does make some sense considering that okay, my pause is working, okay? Considering that the Atari VCS 2600 port, the Atari VCS 2600 as a console, you know, the Atari 7800 was about roughly equivalent to being 3 times as powerful as an Atari VCS 2600. So, of course, the Atari VCS 2600 port, it would have had a little less power to calculate and keep track of your scores and point values. So, of course, they're probably going to be a little bit lower and all, because it makes it simpler to compute and keep track of. At least that's why I think it's probably one of the reasons for that. Okay, what's this? I'm not sure if that was a burger or what, but don't worry about it. One thing I remember about this level here is if you want to get anywhere, you better go ahead and switch to the... go from level 1 to level 2. That's another thing is the number of levels on the different space stations, the count of how many there are tends to be a bit different compared to the 7800 port. Probably because it condenses the game and makes it a bit easier to play and keep track of, considering the limitations of the Atari VCS 2600 console. Another difference you might notice is here, you don't have any doors to run into going from room to room. There's my better gun. I think it's the, what is it, laser rifle or the electric shock one? I forget. Either case, it's a better gun than that one, which I forget if that was supposed to be a laser pistol, or what. Laser rifle or what it is. I forget without having the manual right in front of me. I think this is another, not sure if that was a burger or what. It's kind of tougher in this one to tell what the different items are when you first look at them. Another interesting difference is in the types of items, you know, like this right here, this green item is technically a grenade, which to use in this one you press down while at the same time you are pressing fire to use, which I missed with that one. If these are, the tentacles here are pretty much the same. What that item was, I forget. I know one is a burger, but it looks a bit different, so I forget what that one was. Something that's hard to remember and keep track of all. This, I believe, is supposed to be rope. No, it may have been the burger thing. I don't know, or, I'm not sure. Kind of hard to tell with this one to a degree. Another big difference in items, which I kind of forgot to mention in the Atari VCS 2600 port review, is that, unlike in the Atari 7800 port, you can find a disc which will allow you to manually set the base to self-destruct rather than just self-destructing if you fail to clear enough Xenophobe aliens before you get out, within a grand time limit. And whereas the Atari VCS 2600 arcade port, it does not have that disc with that option. I think there may be a disc you can collect, but you can't use it to manually program a self-destruct. Okay, we're on 3. I've already gotten further than I did in my original review video, so that's nice. Another grenade, which I might need at some point. On this one, I tend to prefer to go left to right. To me, it just makes a little more sense. Going right to left. Going left to right, you know, it kind of becomes more of a hassle. Anyway, yeah, too, like I said, there's no walls to bump into, doors to bump into, so you can jump around without any worry about that. Of course, on the elevator rooms, you can't jump or crouch for some reason, which is a bit interesting. Like here's what I think is supposed to be the disc item, but there's no way to use it for anything. There we go, I used the grenade. There's no way to use it to program a self-destruct, so. There's also the obvious difference in graphical qualities, which this one's not too bad. Your protagonist character looks maybe even more generic than on the Atari 7800 port, but at least in this one he has hair. Or I guess he does. It looks like he's supposed to. Oops, didn't mean to. That's another thing with the grenades as a weapon. They're easy enough to throw without really trying to or meaning to. Just trying to crouch down so you can get a shot at something, and you can throw a grenade without even intending it. Also, another one really gives you an inventory to keep track of how many grenades or other weapons you have, so. And he managed to get my gun. Or not going to BS her. But here's the even better gun, which I believe this is supposed to be. I forget if it's Hoover gun or what, but. Ooh, that was close. See, I didn't even get this for the review video because I forgot about, you know, going to the first level in that second station and getting the better gun first. Just something I mistakenly overlooked without meaning to. No matter much, I got an even better gun now, so. This one will kill him in mostly one shot, which is what I think it's supposed to be the poofer gun, but I forget which is supposed to be which on this one. It's kind of tough to tell what you've got and don't. You have to get used to the effects in order to tell. And of course with the elevators, you just press up to call it and press up or down for whichever floor. Though the manual states to press left or right, which is, I guess, maybe a printing mistake or a misunderstanding of the gameplay, but whatever. Also on this one this time, rather than using my joystick, I'm using just my Retro Game Boy's gamepad controller I got from them because it makes things a bit easier. So I forget if it's supposed to be a shovel or what that piece of hardware is supposed to be, but another thing you want to do is try to pick up all the hardware you can find and get extra points. Not dealing with them unless I have to. Another flask, which will replenish some more health for me. And this one too still awards you about the 300 points or so for the each Xenophobe counted as killed when you clear base. Health bonus awarded, which is always a 200 point health bonus. Then it shows you the hardware and counts up everything for it. Which, as I noted before, all except for the rope, which is worth 250, everything else is worth 500 on this point. This one, which is on the 7800 port, they're worth different values. Kind of like how the values for killing each alien and how much damage you can do to them or how much damage it would take to kill them. All those are different. And like I said, it's probably because of the difference in the console's capabilities. the Atari VCS 2600 would probably have an easier time keeping track of and calculating lower point values and numbers than, whereas the Atari 7800 could handle much more arcade-like numbers and point values and such, calculating and keeping track of all those with no real problem. Being a console that's about 3 times more powerful than the Atari VCS 2600, yeah, it should be able to keep track of all that. No, I don't need to downgrade to that. Maybe a nice option if I do end up losing this current weapon. At least I know there's something that's still more powerful than my initial phaser pistol to go with. Another grenade already. And a third grenade already, I think. That'd be another downgrade in weaponry, so I'm not going to do that. Going to sit and wait for him to... Well, I do need to practice with my grenade fire some, so... Oops. Well, I didn't mean to do it that way, but... It's one thing you have to watch. It's just so easy on this one to throw a grenade without even meaning to, so... Good thing, I guess, in that case, if they give you more grenades, like, as you progress further along. Darn you. Take that, you little... You have to be fairly accurate with grenades to hit them on this one. Okay, I'm going to go back and get replacement weapons, since why not? A and B, I need it. Less powerful weapon by some, but that's okay. I can deal. Darn, still overshot him. He managed to take my other weapon. Get out of my way, stupid. Can't do anything with this knife right here. Fortunately, I do know where to go get another weapon. They're not going to give me a break on this. Screw you. Finally. And I'm almost dead. Which is okay since we need to switch over to the 7800 port anyway. Anyway, that's basically the Atari VCS 2600 port, which is okay, but, you know, it's my game over. I didn't do too bad. 54,900 points. I actually got over 100,000 or something like that, I think, before, which I got to like station 5 or 6, but it's tough. Okay, so here we go with the 7800 port. Yeah, I'll go for novice. Standard is okay, but it can be a pain in the neck. And yes, you can select a second player mode, but they have to plug in their controller and get started with you, so. Oops. Threw the grenade without meaning to. That's the other thing here. Okay, you have a cooperative two-player game mode. Let me go ahead and... Did not mean to do that. So here, this one has a two-player cooperative gameplay mode. And of course you have the doors you can run into, which will cost you some health if you're not careful about it. The backgrounds are a bit more detailed looking. And the items and all are a bit easier to make out. The point values and the such are all higher than they would be on the Atari VCS 2600 port. And there's also firing between different doors and such. I better not stick around for her. It's not before I have this. Okay, you want to play? There you go. That, I believe, is the laser rifle, or whatever it's supposed to be called. I forget. Without a manual right in front of me. Either way, it's a better, more effective weapon than the last one. That phaser pistol is okay, but it's not going to be a huge help. Go cleared out the base, I believe. Yep. Kill points per kill 300 is 12 and all that. Health bonus 200. So it's basically the same on all that for the most part. It's just the other point values and scores all are a bit different. Again, here I like the spaceship looks pretty good, and you get different designs for different space stations. So both ports have that in common, and I'd call that a pretty good positive about them. Those, by the way, are the critters, I believe. This is rope, which is easier to identify here. And those are the roller baby types, if I'm not mistaken, for the most part. Oh, she is just determined to keep me from getting back my gun, isn't she? Damn it! Come on! Use that flask of health right now. More importantly, though, I need to get a gun. Again, press up to call elevator and open those doors, which is not too tough to do if you know what you're doing. There's another gun just like the one I had here. Yep. Peace, snothead mo. Jerks, this is my game. I'm not going to let them ruin it for me. Thank you for dying. And you too. Okay, go up to little Alpha. On this one, you also do have the computer chip where you could set to self-destruct. I'm just not sure if I've got it or not, or what. Okay, get some health back here. See, that's definitely a burger right there, which is 50 more health points. Good thing. And a grenade, having the second button makes using a grenade a fair bit easier than it wouldn't be otherwise. Ooh, better gun too, and I missed it. And I failed to clear that base. Oh well. I think I've got just enough time to do a bit more, one more maybe. I do like the design of this little third base, it's kind of nice. Get over me. I didn't take too much to get rid of them. Yeah, I like this gun for being a bit better, but the one that I didn't manage to get in the last one, because I ran too low on time, is technically among the best you can get, so. Oh well. Also, you might notice here the spin attack from those big Xenophobe types and all is not quite as bad on this one. It'll knock you down and take your weapon pretty easy on the Atari VCS 2600 port, but on this one, it's not quite so potent. I guess if you take a direct hit from it, it would be. Another burger for a bit more health back. I might get my health bonus for completing the last station, since I didn't manage to complete it anyway, so. And I was out of grenades. Should have known I've been using too many. We'll try and do that. Instead of the laser, electric, whatever, this one's the poofer gun straight up, so I go straight from the next best gun to the very best. Doesn't have as much range as some of the others, but it does kill most things in a shot or so, so. We're on to Gamma level, which, if I'm not mistaken, should be the last one on this one. Ah, there's that last weapon too, but I'm really gonna bother with it at the moment. It's kind of a cool one, but not as powerful as this thing, so. What if I just hit my head going through the door? Don't know. Skull to collect. Got rid of you in one shot. If you run, I use grenade for the distance. Ah. Yeah, be kidding me. There's still another level to clear? What the heck did I miss? Don't know. Anyway, this video is going to get split into a two-part anyway if I don't go ahead and cut it down, so I'm going to go ahead and cut the gameplay a bit short. Okay, so those were the Atari VCS 2600 and Atari 7800 ports of Xenophobe. Both are very good. Both give you a lot of the same gameplay as the arcade cabinet original from '87, if not quite the same graphical and sound quality. And I think they both do a pretty good job of recreating the experience. I do have a recommendation and link for you guys, so I didn't write it down. It's for retro comparisons, which they compare contrast this one. Anyway, big shout out to my Atari 2600 and Atari 7800 Pro System Gamers Facebook groups. Love you guys there, and y'all should hopefully be getting this before too long. And, well, I've still got my, prototype review video coming up tomorrow, Sunday, so keep your eyes peeled for that, and I will leave a link to the Wikipedia article just in case anybody cares to read up on this game and the ports further. In the meantime, you guys take care, have a wonderful Saturday, and hopefully I will see you again tomorrow on Sunday.